Krishna, please accept my whole obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice to see you today at our Tuesday Sangha. So, our Tuesday Sangha, again, is it your first time today? Yes? So Tuesday Sangha, it's also called Circle of Influence. We read Bhagavad Gita together. We discuss if you have any questions, and the purpose of this Sangha is to enlighten yourself, get in touch with this knowledge, and to go deeply into this knowledge. Okay? And since Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord himself, this is our very rare opportunity to communicate with the Lord and Srila Prabhupada through the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Good to see you. So, and before we begin reading Bhagavad Gita, we're going to do one round of Maha Mantra. And Maha Mantra, again to remind, is sound incarnation of the Lord, which allows us to get in touch with his universal energy of love, happiness, bliss, and knowledge. And I am currently reading this book. It's called The Living Name of Sachinandana Swami. And before we begin, in order to deepen our meditation, I'll just read a little bit about the meaning of the Maha Mantra. Sachinandana Swami. Yeah. Okay. So this is page number 155, and it's called Meditating on the Meaning of the Mantra. In the Hari Bhakti Vilasa, Srila Sanatana Goswami encourages us to practice Maha Mantra Chintanam. That is, we must meditate on the meaning of the mantra. Only then is the full power of the mantra released. If we are absent-minded and not aware of the meaning, we remain unfocused. Yeah. So again, if we are absent-minded and not aware of the meaning, we remain unfocused. And focusing on the Maha Mantra is the real recipe to become basically filled in with the love and energy of the Lord. Because, I give a very simple example. Imagine there is a very rich person and you are saying, I'm not interested in you, I'm just interested in your money. I'm not paying attention to you. I'm just calling you by your name because I want to be happy, wealthy, and etc. It's not a relationship, right? So by chanting the name, we establish that forgotten relationship between our soul and the Lord. And by that establishment, we begin feeling the inexhaustible happiness that doesn't exist in the material world. Because the material world is an instrument, again, of the spiritual energy. And in the aforementioned verse from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22.33, we learn the secret. Proper inner orientation incorporates the meaning of the mantra in the mind. Please engage me in the service, in your service, by meaning of the mantra, okay, which is Sambandha Jnana, is established, and thus we understand that we have a relationship with Krishna. The whole idea of chanting the holy name is to attract the presence of the Lord by glorifying Him. And our attention is the first instrument, which is in our hands and in our circle of influence, right? To attract the Lord in our hearts and in our life. We call Him with affection because He possesses all the best qualities of beauty, strength, kindness, knowledge, and is capable of the supermost form of action, and because we really need Him. And also in Bhagavad Gita we will further discuss and read that all of the best qualities in a human being become revealed because of the contact this in mind, we will start chanting our one round of Maha Mantra, and the words of the mantra are here. Okay? Let's start. Oh, yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mahamanta ki jai. Wonderful chanting. Thank you, everyone. It's always nice to focus on how you feel before chanting the mantra and how you feel after. And feel this vibration in your whole body. Even at home, you know, when you're chanting, you can just put your hand on your heart chakra and feel how it beats, you know, what is the sensation and feeling coming out. It's peace. Yeah, it's very peaceful. Yes. Continue reading Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. And just to refresh our memory, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita was about the fear of Arjuna and how he feels before this magnificent event, the battle of the Kurukshetra. And he cannot control his feelings. So he shares his fears and his feelings with the Lord, but he's not inquiring. Therefore, the Lord is just listening. So at that point, Arjuna is not in the position of a student. He's a friend of the Lord, and we should remember that he's a pure soul. That's why he has the Lord's association. And in the second chapter, the Lord, seeing the frustration and fear of Arjuna, starts helping him, basically cleansing his heart of the impurities. And he begins his speech about the knowledge of the soul. And again, I will ask you again, how would you feel and how would you act and what your life would be if you don't know about the soul? If we think that we are just this body, we don't have our spiritual nature, it's just this material nature, we are born, we're gonna die, and we grow, we get old. So what kind of life quality would we have? You can use the mic.
So Mata, you said, what is the question?
Yeah, so the question is, if you don't know about the soul,
Okay.
that we are spiritual creatures,
Mhm.
what would your life be? What would your feeling of yourself be, your self-perception?
I think will be rest with confusion, no clue, because then we'll be keep coming here and going back in the back of the cycle, like, and this, and we'll be like so evolved in this materialistic world that there might be we'll lose our self identity, because I think if we spiritual way is the only way, like by that you can know the supreme soul and the supreme personality of God, and I think you have to connect with them. So I think if we don't know the spiritual, if we don't know the soul, then I think you cannot find the right way, the self realization basically. So
Yeah, so
you can
what would be the sense of life then? If you don't know
useless.
useless, right?
Yeah,
We would
basically,
think that,
yeah,
right?
with no directions to go
No
anywhere,
directions.
go anywhere.
And if the life is useless and we are the living entities that actually live by consciousness, we cannot live without understanding things, right?
Exactly.
And without actually feeling, touching, loving. So what kind of life quality would be there? What kind of taste would be there?
Taste will be like a venom, I would say. We won't be have any like we don't know what is right and what is wrong, right?
Yeah.
So that it will be tasteless basically, I feel.
Yeah,
That's-
or the taste would be artificial.
Yes.
Right? It would be like we would look for the taste in the things that don't bring us happiness.
Yeah, the vision will be unclear because there is no Krishna. The taste will be the taste will be tasteless because there won't be no prasadam. So everything,
No prasadam,
yeah,
no
no
kirtan,
kirtan.
right?
So yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, no wisdom. Imagine no wisdom, no knowledge of the nature of the feelings, because the pure feelings belong to the Lord. We wouldn't understand our feelings, why we feel this way, why we're getting attached, and what to do with those attachments. Imagine what kind of life would that be, right? We would go crazy, I guess, without this knowledge. Yeah, so that's why in order to begin this self-purification, Krishna explains, he gives us the knowledge of the soul. Because if we don't know about the soul and our spiritual nature, how can we relate ourselves to the Lord? Can we? If we don't know that we are souls.
Then we cannot.
No. How can we relate? Right? Yeah. So how can we connect with the Supreme to whom we belong if we don't understand that we are spirit souls?
If you're saying if we don't have the guru, then we won't be we cannot connect to the Krishna. If we don't have guru, then
We cannot, and Guru actually is Krishna is the guru of Arjuna.
exactly.
So we're learning this
Yeah.
knowledge from the main guru, from whom the parampara begins. If you open the Bhagavad Gita, the parampara starts with Krishna, because he is the guru of a pure soul. Every guru represents the Lord. He's his representative. So he brings the message of the Lord. The first thing that we need to know is that we are the spirit soul. And that's why Krishna starts explaining it to Arjuna. Arjuna, you are eternal. Krishna speaks, right? You don't die, you don't get born, you're indestructible. And this is the first thing that we need to know. Because if the person thinks after death there is nothing else to do, what kind of life is here? They're trying to create as many attachments which they believe will give them pleasure as possible. One wife, two wives, kid here, kid there, no responsibilities, pleasure, looking for pleasure everywhere. So this life is very frustrating because they cannot find happiness, and they create more and more attachments, and they create more and more frustration for themselves and others because they don't find happiness in their responsibilities. Krishna speaks that responsibility is also part of Bhakti Yoga if you dedicate it to the Lord. So everything, all our life, becomes spiritual once we start understanding that we are spirit soul and whatever we do is to satisfy the Lord. Okay? So today we will continue reading from text number 21, chapter 2. Is it enough light? Yeah? Yeah, we can go. before we begin, I'm going to give our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and the Acharya who actually made this available for us. He brought this knowledge to the Western world, and he crossed the globe at the age of 70 years old, 13 times, in order to give this knowledge to us. And now there is a marathon of Srila Prabhupada, so whoever would like to participate in this marathon, just buy Bhagavad Gita, give it to your friend, share this knowledge as much as you can, and get blessings from Srila Prabhupada. Okay? Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine, Namaste Saraswati Devi Guravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschetya Deshatarine. Obeisances to the power of the all Vedic knowledge of Vyasadeva himself. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 21. And we're going to read using the mic, and maybe we'll start from here. We'll go in a circle, okay? One by one. I will read text number 21. So we're going to read Sanskrit translation, and then each of you will be reading paragraph. So once one person finishes the paragraph, then you and everybody will read one paragraph, okay? So that everybody has an opportunity to read. Vidavi nashinam nityam yaenam majam avyayam katham su purusha partha Kamgratayati hantikam. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? So Krishna speaks here about the eternity of the soul, that the soul doesn't get born, doesn't die, it's impossible to kill the soul. Purport. Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed, because he orders violence to another person according to the codes of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book for the mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death, so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So for the administration of justice, so-called violence is committed. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge, so there is no possibility of sinful reaction. And here, just for your knowledge, what would make violence sinful? Your idea. What would make violence simple? So here we're seeing that it is an example that Arjuna is acting according to the instructions of the Lord. He doesn't want to fight against his family. It's not his desire to kill anyone. So what is the sign of a sinful violence then?
Maybe when they kill without like, not for justice.
Not for justice.
Any reason.
For any reason.
Except for justice.
And like what kind of reasons can that be?
For their own reason, own best
Pleasure, right?
Pleasure.
Yeah. Or envy. Yeah. Or greed, being evil.
Mother, yeah.
Oh, that's right. All those gates to hell. Yeah. So this is the simple act. But if it's a military person who protects the justice and acts, in this case, is a pure soul and acts at the instruction of the Lord, it's not considered sinful. He is performing his duty. Yeah. Like police, we cannot tell that, oh, they should protect, right? And sometimes they use violence in order to put down the violence. Okay, yeah. Can read them. 22.
Vasamshi jirnanani yatha vihaya navani grahanti naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya charnani anyani samyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Exactly.
The body here is compared with the cloth, right? We cannot say that our dress is eternal, permanent, alive. It's not alive. And if it's moving because of us.
Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who don't believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in a previous verse, 2.13.
And speaking about the changes of the body, how many of you observed how actually the body changes from boyhood to youth, from youthhood to mature age? I observed, right? It's the change of the body. It's not only like, it's kind of a different person, different consciousness. Yeah.
Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like Mundaka Upanishad, as well as Svatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the supersoul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree. The other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another or from one body to another. The jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad and the Svatara Upanishad confirm this.
So here there are 2 points. First of all, there are 2 types of souls, right? One super soul and one individual soul. What is the difference between them?
Super soul is like Krishna's, like which is Krishna's body. It's not a special body; it's a soul.
Yeah.
And we are like individual soul.
Yeah. But what is the action? Like what the super soul does? Sorry. Yeah. What the super soul do?
Super soul don't go for the result or the fruit of the action or the term.
Yeah.
But while the normal souls, we always looking for the fruit of the action or.
Yeah. So super soul observes. Yes, what the soul does, right? And it fulfills the desires of the soul. While the soul, what does it do? Enjoys the fruit. It's trying to enjoy this material nature, right? And then another point is here, what causes the individual soul to change the body? What is it in us that becomes the reason for our changing the body? We just read about it. I'm just trying to fix your attention there. What is it that we have? The individual soul is what? Forgetful of the relationship. Yeah. And that's why, super soul doesn't forget. It doesn't require anybody. Yeah. So, and then another thing, the recipe. In order to stop changing the body, what do we need to do? What Arjuna did? Voluntarily surrender. Yeah. Yeah, it won't change our nature. We're still forgetful. But if we voluntarily surrender to the Supreme, we will stop this cycle of birth and death. Okay? Krishna will take care of our memory. It all comes from him. Remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Everything comes from him. So he will maintain. Yeah. So this is a very important point here. Thank you so much. So you can pass the mic further. Oh, yeah. Okay. We can go.
शमाने वक्षे पुरुषो निमग्नो निस्यया सोचति मुहुयामना जुस्तम यदा पश्यति अन्यम इशम अस्या महिमनम iti viti sokha. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and the moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or the other he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from the lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in their righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all the reactions of the various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of the bodily reactions and prompted to a higher status of life. So there is no cause for Arjuna's lamentation.
Yes, thank you so much. And here again, I would like to point your attention on several very important things here. So anxiety, what is the cause of anxiety discussed in this paragraph?
Our attachment to the material world, like.
That's right. So the soul is trying to enjoy the fruit, and that's why we become anxious, right? But then, what frees us from that? How we become free?
By Krishna's bhajan.
By not only seeing. Duryodhana also saw that, but he didn't get through. By turning to him, which is actually our will, how we use our independence. It's our voluntary desire to turn to the Lord. And that's why it is said here, he understands by submission. Yeah, he understands by surrendering. He understands Bhagavad Gita. There's so many people who were present, heard Bhagavad Gita, but Arjuna understood it. Duryodhana didn't. Why? Because he didn't turn. He was trying to enjoy and enjoy. He was anxious until the end of his material body. Krishna's Srila Prabhupada explained here that if we advised, that's why we do not lament once we surrender to the Lord. So we become free from anxieties by doing this. And the whole world is suffering from anxieties nowadays, right? Become the disease which the doctors trying to nowadays to cure, but they cannot cure it because there is a rule of how to do it. The recipes here, you have to follow this recipe. Okay, so please pass the mic to the next.
Nainam chindanti sastrani nainam dahiti pavaka na chanam kledayanti apo na sosyati maruta. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. All kinds of weapons, swords, flame weapons, rain weapons, tornado weapons, etc., are unable to kill the spirit soul. It appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc. In addition to the modern weapons of fire, even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons, but formerly there were other weapons made of all different type of material elements. Fire weapons were concentrated by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor do modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. In any case, the soul can never be cut into pieces or otherwise annihilated by any kind of weapon.
Perfect. So the soul, Krishna is going deeper. It gives us more knowledge about the soul. No matter what kind of weapons exist in the world, it won't be able to kill the soul. How does it make you feel? Isn't it cool if you understand that nothing can kill the soul and we are individual souls? Isn't it amazing? Yes. What happens with our fears? We just understand an illusion. Yeah, it's an illusion. Yeah, thank you.
The Mayavadi cannot explain how the individual soul came into existence simply by ignorance and consequently became covered by the illusory energy, nor was it ever possible to cut the individual souls from the original Supreme Soul. Rather, the individual souls are eternally separated parts of the Supreme Soul, because they are atomic individual souls, eternally sanatana. They are prone to be covered by the illusory energy, and thus they become separated from the association of the Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of fire, although one in quality with the fire, are prone to be extinguished when out of the fire. In the Varaha Purana, the living entities are described as separated parts and parcels of the Supreme. They are eternally so, according to the Bhagavad Gita also. So even after being liberated from illusion, the living entity remains a separate entity, as is evident from the teachings of the Lord to Arjuna. Arjuna became liberated by the knowledge received from Krishna, but he never became one with Krishna.
So in other words, we are individual and our individuality will remain. Okay? We are eternally separated souls, like parts and parcels of the Supreme Soul. Oh, you can pass further because you read. Yeah. You want to get the book?
Achedyo yam adhayo yam akledyo sosya evacha nitya sarva gatah sthanur akalyo yam sanatana.
Translation.
Okay.
So we are reading translation and then one paragraph of purport.
This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. All these qualifications of the atomic soul definitely prove that the individual soul is eternally the atomic particle of the spirit whole, and he remains the same atom eternally, without change. The theory of monism is very difficult to apply in this case, because the individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneously after liberation from material contamination. The atomic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planets to associate with the Personality of Godhead.
Yes, thank you so much. And also there are some very important points here. First of all, the qualities of the individual soul. If we are established in our spiritual identity, you can read again these qualities: unbreakable, insoluble, neither burn nor dried, everlasting, everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, eternally the same. So this person is the strongest, who is in his spiritual, who understands his spiritual nature and in touch, he represents, he manifests those qualities. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? It's, right? Yes, and another thing which is very nice to remember, that we are eternally the same. Our soul is eternally the same. No matter what kind of body we have, it is always the same individual soul. And I will never change, you will never change. Each of us, we are individual, never changing, eternal souls. How does it make you feel? This knowledge. No matter what we wear, no matter what kind of body we have, we're eternally the same. There are many souls, innumerable, and they're eternally the same. We are eternally the same. Just meditate on it in your free time. Each individual soul.
So there are so many souls?
No. You are eternally the same. So you are.
There are so many? Like this?
So many souls. So many. Separated. Yeah. If you meditate on it, share your realizations. It's an eternal soul. You look at the dog. It's an eternal soul. It never changes. Tomorrow it will be somebody's uncle.
Right. Yeah, if it lasts, then the soul passes to the new or maybe or
because of the forgetfulness, as we read. Yes. You see the tree. It's an eternal soul, which is in the body, in the form of a tree. Tomorrow it can be somebody's cat. The day after tomorrow it can be somebody's son. But it's the same eternal soul. Can you imagine? Yeah. Yeah. Associate with the Lord. And important thing here, which describes such soul, is intelligent souls. Intelligent. So we are purifying our consciousness in order to use our intelligence. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. So who's next? Behind?
Avatyo yam asinto yam avikriyo yam uchate tasmat evam vidvitavanam nanu soshitam arhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
Prabhu, I think we missed one paragraph. Text 24, the last paragraph.
The word sarvagata, all-pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that the living entities are all over God's creation. They live in the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, and even within fire. The belief that they are sterilized is fire is not acceptable, because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burned by fire. Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet, with suitable bodies to live there. If the sun globe is uninhabited, then the word sarvagata, living everywhere, becomes meaningless.
Correct. Yeah.
And then I can go with the translation?
No, you're going to pass. We're going to start all over again. Yeah. We can go from here. Maybe from you, Prabhuji.
Avyakto yam achinnatyo yam abhikaryo yam uchyate tasmad evam vidit vainam nanu shochitum arhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. As described previously, the magnitude of the soul is so small for our material calculation that he cannot be seen even by the most powerful microscope. Therefore, he is invisible. As far as the soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence experimentally beyond the proof of Shruti or Vedic wisdom. We have to accept this truth because there is no other source of understanding the existence of the soul. Although it is a fact by perception, there are many things we have to accept solely on grounds of superior authority. No one can deny the existence of his father based upon the authority of his mother. There is no source of understanding the identity of the father except by the authority of the mother. Similarly, there is no source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas. In other words, the soul is inconceivable by human experimental knowledge. The soul is consciousness and conscious. That also in the statement of the Vedas, and we have to accept that. Unlike the bodily changes, there is no chance in the soul. As eternally unchangeable, the soul remains atomic in comparison to the infinite Supreme Soul. The Supreme Soul is infinite and the atomic soul is infinitesimal. Therefore, the infinitesimal soul, being unchangeable, can never become equal to the infinite soul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This concept is repeated in the Vedas in different ways just to confirm the stability of the conceptions of the soul. Repetition of something is necessary in order that we understand the matter thoroughly without error.
Yeah, this is a very good point. Repetition of this knowledge is very important. That's why we need to read Bhagavad Gita again and again, because by understanding that we may forget, we are forgetful, and remembering about the Lord and turning to Him and surrendering to Him, right, is our way out of this material existence. So we need to revive our knowledge day by day, night by night, every day. Prabhu, you want to read?
Hare Krishna. अथ चैनं नित्याजतं नित्यं वा मनस्से मृतं तथा पीतं महाभौ नैवं सूचितमसि. Do we do the word-to-word translation too?
No, we just do the translation itself and first paragraph of the purport.
If, however, you think the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. Purport two?
Yes, first paragraph.
There is always a class of philosophers, almost akin to the Buddhists, who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. When Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such philosophers existed, and they were known as the Lokayatikas, as Vibhashikas. Such philosophers maintain that life symptoms take place at a certain mature condition in material combination. The modern material scientists and materialist philosophers also think similarly. According to them, the body is combination of physical elements. At a certain stage, the life symptoms develop by interaction of the physical and chemical elements. The science of anthropology is based on this philosophy. Currently, many pseudo-religions, now becoming fashionable in America, are also adhering to this philosophy, as are the nihilistic, non-devotional Buddhist sects. The next one too. Even if Arjuna, the next para too.
You did 26, right?
Yeah,
26.
yeah.
Yeah. So you can pass. Next paragraph.
Even if Arjuna did not believe in the existence of the soul, as in the Vipashika philosophy, there would still have been no cause for lamentation. No one laments the loss of a certain bulk of chemicals and stops discharging his prescribed duty. On the other hand, in modern science and scientific warfare, so many tons of chemicals are wasted for achieving victory over the enemy. According to the Vipashika philosophy, the so-called soul, or Atma, vanishes along with the deterioration of the body. So in any case, whether Arjuna accepted the Vedic conclusion that there is an atomic soul, or he did not believe in the existence of the soul, he had no reason to lament. According to this theory, since there are so many living entities generating out of matter every moment, and so many of them are being vanquished every moment, there is no need to grieve for such incidents. If there were no rebirth for the soul, Arjuna had no reason to be afraid of being affected by sinful reactions due to his killing his grandfather and teacher. But at the same time, Krishna sarcastically addressed Arjuna as Mahabahu, mighty armed, because he at least did not accept the theory of the Vipashikas, which leaves aside the Vedic wisdom. As a Kshatriya, Arjuna belonged to the Vedic culture, and it behooved him to continue to follow its principles.
So here it emphasized that Krishna is the best of the mystics, and he looks at the situation from different angles. So he gives Arjuna knowledge of the soul, and at the same time, he speaks also about the other philosophies, just to let Arjuna know that he's performing his duty. Basically, he doesn't need to lament because he's not losing anything from any angle. Yeah, this is Krishna's position. He excludes all of the unnecessary things right away. So that we don't look at those, in the philosophies that do not give us any help in self-realization.
Chatasya hi dhruvo matrim dhruvam janma matrasa tasmad aprehare te natvam sochitum arhasi. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after that one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in an unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. One has to take birth according to one's activities of life, and after finishing one term of activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. This cycle of birth and death does not, however, support unnecessary murder, slaughter and war, but at the same time, violence and war are inevitable factors in human society for keeping law and order.
So we're going paragraph by paragraph. Yes, thank you so much. So how does this knowledge help you in life if you know that whoever who has taken birth will die again, right? And who dies will take birth again. So how is it helpful for you? If we know this, if we have this information, how does it help us?
If we know it, then we can engage in more services.
Please explain. How do we engage if we know this?
If we already have fear of getting hurt and again,
So if we have this fear, right, it will help us to engage in services. Okay, but how does this knowledge help us in life? Like just this understanding that whoever is born will die and who dies will get birth again. What does it do?
Fear of death will go away.
The fear of death.
Yeah, it will go away because you know it's inevitable. So
It is inevitable. We cannot control it, right? It's out of our control. So should we lament?
I guess the point that when you study that is self-realization, procrastination, and
Yeah.
anxiety will go.
The anxiety will go, right? So how does this knowledge help us in performing our duties?
So we have to do mostly like good deeds, either in any ways, that's what he's trying to say. So just do good deeds anyways, and then you will get another birth. So it will continue, the cycle of good deeds will continue throughout life and that, and another life.
You made several good points. So first of all, we cannot control birth and death. It's out of our control, right? So we shouldn't think about it. It's not our problem. Second thing, it says here, one has to take birth according to one's activities of life. Right? So, which means that based on what we do, how well we do, will be what? Our next life. You know? So we shouldn't think about birth, death, what comes and goes. Today I'm happy, tomorrow I'm not happy, today winter, tomorrow summer. Doesn't matter. It comes and goes. It gets born and it dies. And it's out of our control. It's not our circle of influence. Our circle of influence is to think what we do, how well we do it, what we think about. And that will what? Take us. That will identify our next life. And service to the Lord is above all of the karma. So the whole point here is because the Lord is taking Arjuna to that level, right? Gradually. First of all, do your duty, because you have to. And then dedicate it to me, and I will continue with that, right? And then you will reach me, which we will read in chapter 18, once we get there. Yeah, so that's a very good point, thank you. So next, yeah, Prabhu.
Avyaktadinan.
We have one more paragraph. The battle of Kurukshetra.
The battle of Kurukshetra, being the will of the Supreme, was an inevitable event, and to fight for the right cause is the duty of the Kshatriya. Since Arjuna would be discharging his proper duty, why should he be afraid or aggrieved at the death of his relatives? He did not deserve to break the law, thereby becoming subject to the reactions of the sinful acts of which he was so afraid. By avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death of his relatives, and he would be degraded due to his selection of the wrong path of action.
Yes, thank you so much. And how many of you had in life such an event which was inevitable and you had to perform your duty, no matter how unpleasant it is? Even, for example, we have to go to school. A lot of kids don't want to go to school, but it's our duty. Otherwise, we won't have education and it will be a big obstacle, right? It is inevitable. We have to go. We can, if we avoid it, what it says here, there will be a degradation because we create obstacles for ourselves. And it can be a lot of other things, like mother and child relationship, husband and wife relationships. There can be a lot of things which are inevitable. We have to do that. Maybe you have some examples. Yeah. So, and they might not be pleasant, right? So this is an example that Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing, that Arjuna's duty is kshatriya. It is inevitable. He has to do it. And by performing it, he's taking himself to the next level. And if he doesn't do it, it will cause a degradation.
Avyakta dini bhitani vyakta madhyani bharata. Avyakta madhyan madhyani era tatraka paridevana. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning. Manifest is their interim state and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believes in the existence of the soul and the other not believing in the existence of the soul. There is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet even if for argument's sake we accept this atheist theory, there is still no cause for lamentation apart from the separate existence of the soul. The material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether air is generated, from air fire is generated, from fire water is generated, and from water earth becomes manifested. From the earth many varieties of manifestations take place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains. But in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then what cause is there for lamentation, either in the stage of manifestation or in unmanifestation? Somehow or other, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost. Both at the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested, and only in the middle are they manifested, and this does not make any real material difference.
So Krishna is giving a deeper science of the soul, about the creation, again, to help Arjuna overcome his difficult feelings.
And if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, antavanta ime deha, but that the soul is eternal, nitya syokta shaririniyaha, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on a chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated on the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of non-existence of the material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of the soul or does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for loss of the body.
And Krishna compares our material consciousness with a dream. And probably everybody has that experience. When we have a dream, we may feel that it's true, and we may even feel strong feelings. We may feel that we are losing something, or we get lost, or we are scared. Is it familiar to you? That there is a dream and you're losing something and you feel fear, right? Although it's not happening, it is in a consciousness in the form of the memory from past lives. There is a lot of science about it, right? How it is happening. But the fact is that even in a dream, we can feel as if it's real. Okay? And then psychologically, it's very much proven that trauma actually becomes evident through the, through the dreams. Now, speaking about our identifying with the body, it's also dreaming. So basically, once we wake up, we will understand that we are spirit souls and we're using this body. And then we can do it consciously in a proper way to serve the Lord.
आचार्यवत् पश्याति कश्चिद्दिनम् आचार्यवद् विद्याति तथैव चैनम् आचार्यवक् चैनम् अन्याश्रीनोति श्रुतव्यापी एनं वेद न चैवं कश्चित्. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Purport. Since Gita-Upanishad is largely based on the principles of Upanishads, it's not surprising to also find this passage in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.7. Sarvyapi bhuvabhir yo na labhe sarvanto pi bhavoyam na vidyu acharya vakta kusalosaya labha acharya jayata kusalan stitah. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, and also in a microbic germ, billions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of the spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe, owning to a gross material conception of things. Most men in this age cannot imagine how such a small practical particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as wonderful either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by material energy, people are also engrossed in subject matters for sense gratification that they have very little time to understand the question of self-understanding, even though it is a fact that without self-understanding, all activities result in ultimate defect in the struggle for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of a soul and thus make a solution to material miseries.
So there's so many different conceptions about the soul, and none of them can understand the soul without basically devotional service, because this is the only means to understand the soul. Next paragraph.
Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes, owing to ignorance, they are misguided by acceptance of the super soul. And the atomic soul is as one without distinction of magnitude. It is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the super soul. The atomic soul, their respective functions and relationships, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of self, however, is to accept the statements of the Bhagavad Gita spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by other theories, but it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can, however, be known as such by the casualness, causeless mercy of the pure devotee and by no other way.
Perfect. So who is that person? It is what Prabhupada is saying here, that it's very hard to find a person who can understand the soul, right, and who can explain us the knowledge of the soul. So who is that person for us? Who is that person? Charles. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. So we are very lucky. We have such people who can explain this knowledge for us. Thank you. And it's going to be our, what time is it? 5 minutes left, right? So last text, and then we will probably leave some time for questions.
देहि नित्यम अवध्योयम देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मत् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुम् अर्हसि. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore you need not grieve for any living entity. The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spiritual soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and the teacher, Bhishma and Drona, will die in the battle. On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body, not that there is no such thing as a soul or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged, but at the time of war, it is not discouraged. When there is actual need for it, that need must be justified in terms of the sanction of the Lord and not capriciously.
Yes. So by text 30, Krishna concludes the knowledge of the soul. So basically from text number 1 to text 30, Krishna gives us all of the details, all of the knowledge of the soul. Everything he explains to Arjuna. And here he gives us a very good conclusion. And also, a very important thing here, that which is about the violence, right? So it has to be justified. And justification of the violence is, first of all, is the position of the person. So Kshatriya, right? He is authorized to fight for the right cause. This is the first thing. Second thing, justification of the Lord, which is the most important, because the person wouldn't be in a position without the permission of Paramatma. That's the first of all. So this is very important, and shouldn't be done capriciously. Capriciously meaning that I just want to commit this violence because it's pleasurable, I want to do this, or something else that we have already discussed. So next time we will continue reading 2.31, where Krishna will be giving us the knowledge of the duty, how to perform the duty in a proper mood. And let's have a few minutes for questions. If you have any questions or realizations, please share them, what you've learned today, what are you taking with you. Anyone? You can use your mic. The mic. Questions? Yeah. Yes?
So I realized that that like our body and mind, we can always suffer and be in pain, but the soul is always, the soul can never be scarred or tainted. It is always on a journey and it'll continue. And I think that kind of gives peace to me.
It gives peace?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Is there any other realizations or questions?
I just realized sometimes just sitting at the same place and leaving everything on Krishna, we just have to work according to the circumstance. As Krishna is saying to Arjuna, he has to follow his dharma. As he's a Kshatriya, he has to fight, right?
Yeah.
So instead of sitting at the same time, we have to practice for something or work for something.
Yeah.
That was my realization though.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You want to? Okay.
It is said in Gita chapter 2 verse 22 that as we wear our clothes, our soul wears a body, right? I just realized that I don't know how many karmic janmas I've been through. It could be billions, it could be millions. But I'm glad that I've got that one human birth where I can serve the Lord, where I can serve Srila Prabhupada. I am in a bona fide succession or lineage where more than the karmic thing, it's just me, I would say. It's just what I think, that we are beyond karma. We are beyond karma. And the rounds we chant, the more we dance in the kirtan, the more we chant the holy name, the more we come close to Krishna.